Lesson 1.7, Multiply by Multi-Digit Numbers with Regrouping. The previous lessons, 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6, are linked in the description if you didn't see them, so you won't become lost or confused. We can use place value and regrouping to multiply multi-digit numbers. First thing we do is multiply the ones. Then we multiply this direction. Then we would multiply the tens, and then multiply in this direction. So we have 68 times 27. We start by multiplying the ones. 7 times 8 is 56. We regroup the 5 and put the 6 down. Now we multiply 7 times 6, which is 42, plus 5 more is 47. That's 476 for our first partial product. Now we multiply this 2 tens of the second factor to each of the place values in the first factor. We start with 2 times 8, which is 16. We regroup the 1 and put the 6 down. And what's happening is, because we're multiplying in the tens place, we can start writing our partial product in the tens place. This is going to be a 0. It's always going to be a 0. We can look at it as 20 times 8. That would be 160. So we would regroup the 100 and put the 60. See? But we can also just put a 0 there and think 2 times 8 is 16. Regroup the 1, put the 6 down here in the tens place. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. We write it here. We add both partial products together and get 1,836. So let's do that again, one step at a time. We have 68 times 27. We start with the ones place. 7 times 8 is equal to 56. We regroup the 5 and put the 6 down. Now we're going to multiply in this direction and do 7 times the 6 tens. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 5 more is 47. Now for our first partial product, we have 476. Now we start multiplying the tens place. We have 2 tens times 8. That's 16 tens. We regroup the 1 and put the 6 here. This spot right here will always be a 0 because we started multiplying the tens place. Now we multiply the 2 tens times the 6 tens. 2 times 6 is 12, plus that 1 more is 13. We add the two partial products together and get 1,836. Now we're going to do this several more times and with more digits, so stick with me. Remember what we learned in video 1.4 and 1.5 about the pattern of zeros. We can use the pattern of zeros to find the product of multiples of 10. We find the product of the basic fact, like 4 times 1, followed by the amount of zeros in all the factors. So we have a 4 times 1, and there's 1 0 in these factors, so we have a 4 and a 0. We have 40. Here we have a 4 times 1 with 2 zeros. That makes 400. Here we have a 4 times 1 with 3 zeros. That makes 4,000. Here we have a 4 times 1, and there's a 0 here and a 0 here, so we have 2 zeros. That's 400. We have a 4 times 1 with 3 zeros. That makes 4,000. And in this one, we have a 4 times 1 with 4 zeros in all the factors together. So that's 40,000. And that's the pattern of zeros. So what is happening as we multiply by a multi-digit number? So we have 75 times 34. 75 times 34. What we're doing is we're multiplying the 75 times the 4, and we're adding it to the 75 times the 30. So it's like the distributive property, isn't it? We have 75 times 4 plus 75 times 30. 75 times 4 is 300. 75 times 30 is 2,250. We add the partial products together and get 2,550. So when they're stacked, we're doing the same thing. We're multiplying the 75 to this 4. We get the 300. Then we multiply the 75 to these 3 tens. It's in the tens place. and we get the 2,250. That total for the partial products is 2,550. So let's try this again with a larger amount. Now we have 457 times 28. We're going to break apart the 28 as an 8 plus 20. Now if you notice, I've got the ones place first when I broke it apart into addends. That's because we multiply the ones place first when they're stacked. We start in the ones place. So we're multiplying 457 times 8 and 457 times 20, because there's a 2 in the tens place, and we're going to add these two partial products together. We start with the ones. 8 times 7 is 56. We regroup the 5 and put the 6 down here. Then we do 8 times 5, which is 40, plus 5 more. That would be 45. We regroup the 4 and write the 5 down here. Then we do 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 more is 36. So our first partial product is 3,656. See? Now we're going to erase these regroupings because we don't need them when we're multiplying by this 2 in the tens place. We're going to have all new regroupings, so we need to erase those or cross them out. We have 2 times 7, that's 14. We regroup the 1 and put the 4 down. Then we do 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. We regroup the 1 and put the 1 down. Then we do 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. We add our two partial products together and get 12,796. We multiply 457 times 8, then 457 times 20 as partial products. We finish by adding the partial products. And remember, this will always be a 0 because when we're doing the second partial products, we're starting in the tens place, so our partial products will start in the tens place. That's always a 0 as a placeholder. Now let's multiply a greater number. We have 1,798 times 46. We're going to break the 46 apart into a 6 plus a 40. We're going to multiply 1,798 to the 6. Then we're going to multiply it to the 40. We're going to add their partial products together. So, starting in the ones place, we do 6 times 8, which is 48. We're going to regroup the 4 and write the 8 down here. Now we're going to do 6 times 9, which is 54, plus 4 more is 58. We're going to regroup the 5 over to here and write the 8 down. Now we're going to multiply 6 times 7, which is 42, plus 5 more is 47. We're going to regroup the 4 and write the 7 down. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 more is 10. We've got 10,788 for our first partial product. See? That's 1,798 times 6. Now that we're going to move to do the second partial product, we erase these because we don't need them and don't want to confuse them when we multiply the second partial product. We start with the 4 times 8, which is 32. We regroup the 3 and put the 2 down, remembering that this is always going to be a 0. We're multiplying in the tens place, so our partial product starts going into the tens place. Now we multiply 4 times 9, which is 36, plus 3 more is 39. We regroup the 3, put the 9 down. We multiply 4 times 7, which is 28, plus 3 more, that's 29, 30, 31. We regroup the 3, put the 1 down. Now we do 4 times 1 is 4, 5, 6, 7. We put the 7 down. So our second partial product is 71,920. We add the partial products together and get 82,708. So it's really important that when you're going from multiplying the ones to get the first partial product, that you erase these regrouped numbers. We don't want to make the mistake of when we did 6 times 8 was 48. Then, when we multiply 4 times 8 is 32. We don't want to accidentally add a 4 instead of a 3. We should have regrouped a 3 for the second partial product, see? So make sure you erase or cross out regrouped numbers before multiplying for the second partial product, okay? We need to estimate, then find the product. So we have 3,467. This 4 tells the 3 to stay the same. Then these all become 0, so that rounds to 3,000. This 5 tells the 2 to go up to a 3, and then they become 0, so that rounds to 300. We can multiply basic facts of 3 times 3 is 9 with 5 zeros. That gives us 900,000 for our estimate. Now, we're going to have 3 partial products because we have 3 digits here. Do you see that? So that's the first partial product, the green one. We have a second partial product and a third partial product because this has 3 digits. We're going to start with 8 times 7, which is 56. We regroup the 5 and put the 6 down. Now we're going to do 8 times 6, which is 48, plus 5 more is 53. So we're going to regroup a 5, put this 3 here. Now we're going to do 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 5 more is 37. We're going to regroup the 3, put this 7 here. We're going to do 8 times 3 is 24, and 3 more is 27. So our first partial product for 3,467 times 8 is 27,736. Now it's time to multiply the 5 that's in the tens place. But we need to get rid of these regroupings so we don't confuse them with regroupings that we're going to be doing now. We multiply 5 times 7, which is 35. We regroup the 3 and put the 5 here. Because remember, that's always going to be a 0. We're multiplying in the tens place, so our partial product starts in the tens place. Now we do 5 times 6, which is 30, plus 3 more is 33. We regroup the 3 and put that 3 here. We do 5 times 4, which is 20, plus 3 more is 23. We regroup the 2, put that 3 here. We do 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, and our second partial product is 173,350. And that was multiplying this 3,467 times 50. That's how that 0 actually got there. Now we're going to multiply in the hundreds place for the 2. Because we're multiplying starting here, that means our partial product is going to start here. So that's going to automatically be a 0, and that's going to automatically be a 0 because we're starting in the hundreds place. We need to erase our regroupings from the second partial product so we don't confuse them with our third partial product. We can erase or cross them out. And we do 2 times 7, which is 14. We regroup the 1 and write the 4 down. We multiply 2 times 6, which is 12, plus 1 more is 13. We regroup the 1, put the 3 down. We do 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 1 more is 9. We put the 9 down. And then we do 2 times 3, which is 6. We have 693,400 for our third partial product. We add the 3 partial products and get 894,486, which is very close to our estimate of 900,000. So it's a reasonable product and it makes sense. When we estimate a product, we'll know if our actual answer is reasonable and makes sense. Our estimate will become more and more accurate as we round to lesser place values. So we have 1,247. If we round it to the thousands place and we round this to 20, we would have 20,000 as our estimate. But if we rounded it to the hundreds place and then rounded this one to 20, we'd have 24,000. And if we round it to the tens place, the 7 tells the 4 to go up to a 5, we'd have 1,250 times 20, we'd have 25,000. So as we rounded to lesser place values, our estimate became closer to the actual product. See? And the closer the rounded numbers are to the actual numbers may determine how accurate an estimate will be. Here we multiplied 247 times 34, and we rounded to the hundreds place as a 200, and we rounded this to 30. We multiplied 3 times 2 as a basic fact and got a 6, and added 3 zeros, we got 6,000. The actual product was 8,398. Well, 200 is a little far from 247. If we round the 247 to the tens place, we get 250. We can multiply that times 30. We get 7,500 for our estimate. So see, by rounding to the tens place, we made it closer to the actual product. If we round this to a 35 instead of a 30, we would get 8,750. Look at that, it's more than the actual product. So what happened here is, if we round to numbers that are less than the actual numbers, the estimate will be less than the actual product. And if we round to numbers that are greater than the actual numbers, the estimate will be greater than the actual product. See? Here we're multiplying 58 times 39. Our first partial product is 522. Our second partial product is 1,740. And the second partial product is always greater than the first partial product because it is a product of multiplying by tens. A large bag of dog food weighs 24 pounds. A medium bag weighs 12 pounds. Mr. Lee stocked his store with 36 large bags and 48 medium bags. What is the total weight of the dog food Mr. Lee stocked? So think, we need to multiply 24 pounds times 36 bags and 12 pounds times 48 bags, then add their products to find the total weight in pounds. We can estimate 24 times 36 as 20 times 40. That would be about 800 pounds for the large bags. When we do the actual multiplication, we have 6 times 4, which is 24. We regroup the 2 and write the 4 down. Then we multiply 6 times 2, which is 12, plus 2 more is 14. Our first partial product is 144. Now we need to erase that 2 or cross it out so we can do the next partial product. We multiply 3 times 4, which is 12. We regroup the 1, put the 2 down. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. We have 720. We add the partial products together and get 864 pounds. And that's very close to our estimate. It's in the 800s. We can estimate the medium dog food bags. We're going to multiply 12 times 48, so we can round it to 10 times 50. That would be about 500 pounds. When we multiply 8 times 2 in the ones place, that's 16. We regroup the 1 and put the 6 down. We multiply 8 times 1, which is 8, plus 1 more is 9. Our first partial product is 96. Now we need to multiply the 4 tens. We need to get rid of this regrouping so we don't confuse it. We multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, and 4 times 1, which is 4. And look, we always have a 0 here. We add our partial products and get 576 pounds. And our estimate was about 500. Now what we do is add them together. Add our estimates of 800 plus 500 pounds, we get 1,300 pounds. We can add our product for our large bags to our medium bags, and we get 1,440 pounds of dog food that he stocked in his store in all those bags. Children need more sleep than adults to support their rapid mental and physical development. And the Sleep Foundation recommends 84 hours per week for a 6-year-old and 70 hours for an 11-year-old. In 1 year, how many more hours are recommended for a 6-year-old than for an 11-year-old? So we think, well, 1 year is 52 weeks. We need to find the difference between 52 weeks times 84 hours and 52 weeks times 70 hours. And the recommended for a 6-year-old, we have 52 times 84. We start with the ones place and we multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, and 4 times 5, which is 20. So our first partial product is 208. Then moving to the tens place, so our partial product is going to start in the tens place. That's always a 0, remember. We have 8 times 2, which is 16. We regroup the 1 and put the 6 down. We multiply 8 times 5, which is 40, plus 1 more is 41. We add our partial products. So the recommended hours for a 6-year-old in a year is 4,368 hours. And the recommended for an 11-year-old, we have 52 weeks times 70 hours each week. We have 0 times 52, that's 0. We have 0 times 2 is 0, and 0 times 5 is 0. And we know this place value is always a 0. We're going to start here. 7 times 2 is 14. We regroup the 1 and write the 4 down. We multiply 7 times 5, which is 35, plus 1 more is 36. And we get 3,640 hours. And wants to know how many more hours are recommended for a 6-year-old than an 11-year-old. So we need to find the difference. We need to subtract. We have 4,368 minus 3,640, and we see that there's 728 hours more each year for a 6-year-old. So they may not have to sleep all those hours in one evening or one night. They might take a nap for an hour or two during the daytime, maybe. So remember, when you're multiplying these multi-digit numbers, when you go to do the second partial product, that is always a 0. This is always a 0. You can even put a dot there if you want to. And when we get to the third partial product, because that's the hundreds place, we're going to start writing our answer in the hundreds. That's going to be a 0, and that's going to be a 0. And if we had a fourth digit here, the next partial product would have 3 zeros before we started writing the partial product. Our next lesson, 1.8, we're going to relate multiplication and division to solve division problems. I hope I'll see you there. I hope you have a great day. Bye.